Hello everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I don't know when I decided that was going to be a part of the introduction, because at this point, the welcome to Mrhappy Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, now the whole thing has to be the introduction. So when you ask a question on the forums, make sure you say the whole thing. Don't do that. Please don't do it. Someone's going to do it. That's too late. It's too late. I've already started it. Anyway, it's been a crazy weekend. Been playing a lot of Heroes of the Storm. Well, a lot, like maybe, I don't know, 6-7 hours worth of it. On top of that, I've been playing a hell of a lot of Record Keeper. They just patched it with like level cap increases and quests and resets on dailies and whatnot. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun this weekend. A lot of things to do to kill time before Heavensward. Less than 2 weeks. Way less than 2 weeks. It's like a week and a half from this video. But anyway, I am. Let's get started on answering some questions, shall we? Alright, first question. Hey, Mrhappy, love your videos. First time ask a question on this forum. 100 soldiery bonus. Yes. And now, the question for Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays. You didn't say the whole thing, man. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question. No, I'm just kidding. Are you planning on making new job guides in 3.0, just like the 2.1 guides? I am, but they need to be crafted much more carefully. Those were kind of ragtag guides back when there's very little understanding of the way the game was supposed to be played. And they are still, to this day, they're good basis of what to do when you're still learning the other tricks. But to call them outright guides, they're more like job overviews and basics as opposed to full-on guides. Like, there are things missing that people didn't even start doing until 2.4, even though the jobs didn't change all that much. So I am, but they need to be more carefully constructed. They need to be collaborated on with experts on those jobs. So expect a little bit more of that. I think someone's lighting fireworks. What the hell was that? Oh well, I'm leaving them in. The short answer is yes. Next question, repost from week 42. Hey, Mrhappy, longtime fan here. Just want to say I love your videos. My first time asking a question for the second time. I wanted to ask you how you felt about the tank setup going into Heavensward. As it stands right now, it's optimal to carry a warrior and a paladin, but least effective to bring two of the same tanks. Do you think in future content with the addition of Dark Knight, it'll be most optimal for new content to bring a paladin plus warrior or Dark Knight, and then farming content or replaying content you've done numerous times, you can play with whatever you want? Do you believe that the addition of the Dark Knight, that a Paladin will still be the go-to tank for main tanking and progression? Why or why not? Honestly, I prefer, while yes, the Paladin is a super safe main tank to use with a lot of defensive cooldowns, you know, good base mitigations because of shield oath. I honestly prefer warrior main tank. First of all, warrior main tank does more damage from the main tank slot than the Paladin does, and a Paladin does better DPS from the off tank. So I expect that people that are doing savage progression seriously will opt in to make a Dark Knight or a warrior a main tank while having the Paladin do as much damage as possible as the off tank. Just something I'm expecting to see. Of course, that's, to go without saying, that's very small population of the people that are going to be doing savage progression. So for your standard player, I think Paladin's still going to be the go-to. It's going to be a little bit more complex to play. By complex, I mean you actually have something other than Rage of Halone to do in combat. But I think that Paladin plus Warrior and or Dark Knight will be more common than Warrior and Dark Knight, or Dark Knight as the main tank and Warrior as the off tank. I suspect it'll depend on how popular Dark Knight ends up being. But with, you know, Hallowed Ground is so good. Sentinel, so good. Divine Veil sounds so good. They all sound so good. It's hard to give up a Paladin slot. Next question. Hello, Happy. 2 questions for week 43. Love the videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. First question. I live in Australia and currently play on the Behemoth server. That's pretty much the Dream Network server right there. With the new data centers going to EU, would you think I would get a better connection through EU data center or stay in the NA data center? Really enjoying playing on Behemoth, but sometimes the lag I get is unbearable. Honestly, the Japanese data center is probably the best. This is the sad part. I don't think it would be any better going to Europe. I mean, you're kind of sitting in between both of them on the other side of the world. I don't think it's going to be any better. And second question, I know this is probably never going to happen, but do you think there would ever be a data center closer to Australia? Yoshi P has said there are Australians demanding it. There's a larger percentage of them, of players in that area, that are requesting it. So I'd say if it does happen, it's still not going to be for a while, so I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. Europe is going to be probably October, November-ish. They're aiming for before the end of this year, so that's my guess at the very least. Yeah, maybe, but not for a few years, man. Next question. Hey, mister, I hope you are still happy. Ha, 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 ha. Anyway, as of I'm asking this question, we are 18 days away from the first expansion. We will be taking to the skies. What's today's date that I'm answering this on Sunday, so it's the 7th. 12 days for me. Jesus. There's a high chance if we ever do see another expansion, it's probably going to be underwater. My question is, what other features would you like to see outside of these two? I don't want to swim. listen, I'm sure they can make swimming fun, but I don't want to swim. Please don't make me swim. There's never been a game in my life where I've been like, yay, swimming. It's always like, oh, swimming. Don't make me swim. Just take us to Alamigo and let me be happy, please. Just please. Don't make me swim, please. Next question. Hello, Happy, and hugs from me and my free company, Outlaw Star. Hey, that's the name of my first Chocobo. I had 2 questions for week 43. Question 1. My friend and I want to get Heavensward collectors for PS4, but can't get it on release. So me and a friend are going to get the standard edition on PS3. Can we still get the bonus for the PS4 Collector's Edition, aka the Flying Griffin mount, see some later down the line? Yes, you will eventually be able to take your standard edition of Heavensward and do the digital upgrade via the Mog Station. Yes, that will be available. And question 2, I had a very abusive tank while doing my low roulette, forcing me to leave. My friend, King of all plushies, yes, a shout out, said, why don't they make low roulettes able to be done as a group? Because expert roulettes can, do you think they will? Because I can't take any more. I don't expect to. The whole point of the low-level roulette is to help people level up. And yes, while I understand getting a group of 4 low-level players and going into the roulette would be extremely beneficial, I think the bigger concern they have is groups of 450s, or in this case, after the expansion, 460s, going in and taking up precious spots that those solo players could really want. I definitely think there's a demand for it, and I think they could definitely do with it. But what's probably gonna be more likely is you're gonna see groups of 3 enter their own dungeons. I mean, that's the thing. It's more efficient as a group of 4 to queue up for the highest level dungeon possible and spam that over and over again than to spam the low level roulette. So I'd recommend doing that because you're not going to get this low level roulette feature anytime soon. Next question, and there's, I don't know who's lighting fireworks. It's June 7th. It's not like, it's like Father's Day is next week, I think. I better make sure. I need to get a gift. Anyway, hello, Mr. Happy. 2 questions I hope you'll answer. First off, it's a personal preference. Since I adore Final Fantasy IX, the soundtrack Hunter's Chance would be more suited to some S-rank hunt. Probably the Black Mages. What do you think? I don't know what that sounds like off the top of my head, so I couldn't answer. I don't memorize the names of sounds of Final Fantasy tracks other than like a handful, like Battle at Big Bridge and Dancing Mad. So I couldn't give you an answer on that one. Secondly, the protagonist is supposed to be the new hero of light, but the cutscenes involving our avatars have been rather lackluster, with them standing around like they're distracted by a bird. They smile and nod but don't really do anything as events unfold around them. I would like to see Square Enix make more interesting cutscenes with their characters getting involved with a touch more life in them. Well, this kind of ties into a question I answered a few weeks ago with why does our hero never do anything? Like, why do they kind of just let... Yeah, kind of the same thing. Like, why are we never so involved? Why don't we do more than just take orders from other people? And the general thing is, we kind of meet the demands of the people. It's almost like we're always trying to do good, but we're not trying to just mindlessly throw the entire world out of balance. So I think Midgardsormr's point is that our perception of good versus evil is not the actual perception of good versus evil. You know, there is evil in everything and there is good in everything, and we need to make a more clear distinction about that. Midgardsormr wants us to think more for ourselves in the expansion, so I think we may be getting exactly what you want. Next question. What's up, Happy? So even though a fusion type class, I can't do the dance here with the microphone in the way, so yeah, is not really viable at this moment, do you think that the addition of future cross-class abilities and the addition of 3 new jobs, that we could see the use of a level 60 class that uses a wide or specific choice of cross-class abilities as opposed to going to the job? Seeing all cross-class abilities available, I've always thought maybe one cross-class hybrid class can do serious endgame damage with abilities, raging strikes. But, okay, so if you're going to create a class that can pull cross classes from everything, that class has to... It has to be done in such a way that it determines your effectiveness based on the abilities you decide to take. And at that point, once you've decided, hey, I want to take X amount of abilities to lean me towards a healer or to lean me towards a DPS, you might as well just be a job. Like, that's the ultimate thing about the class system. You're ultimately just gonna be a job, which is why, like, I'm glad they're kind of moving away from it. It's a relic of 1.0 that honestly shouldn't have been included in the game, because it kind of like a talent tree, it feigns, meaning that it totally gives you the illusion of an actual choice when it comes to endgame decisions. No, you gotta bring certain abilities. If you don't have these abilities, you're less than effective. And at that point, it's mandatory. It's not optional. It's not a cross-class system. It's a you need this, so go level them system. Honestly, I don't know how they would do it other than working abilities into the jobs that are included in cross-class so that the ones they were reliant on are no longer needed, so they can get rid of the class system altogether and you could just start as a job at level 1. But it's a lot of development work to take an entire system and remove it from the game and then incorporate it into another system. I don't expect the class system to evolve ever again. Those basic 9 classes will probably be the only 9 we'll ever see in just jobs from here on out. Next question. Hi, Mr. Happy. Question for Mr. Happy Mondays, aka Mondays with Mr. Happy for week 43. Gotta say the whole thing, man. First time I'm doing this, so soldiery bonus. What do you think is going to be the next job added to Final Fantasy XIV after Heavensward? I know that many people are expecting it to be Samurai, but since Yoshi P said that they don't want to add it, they want to add it too soon because they recently released Ninja. It has also been replaced by Dark. So in my case, I think we're lacking magic DPS jobs. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much, that has to be the one of the next jobs has to be a magic DPS. It has to be. Because at this point, you have Machinist and Bard for ranged physical. You have 3 ranged melee. You have 3 tanks, which are technically melee. You have 3 healers, which also kind of... The argument could be healers do so much, are so inclined to do DPS that they are more magic DPS. No. We need another magic DPS. I don't know if it's Necromancer, like you're a Geomancer, like you're suggesting. Probably wouldn't be a Time Mage. I want the Red Mage to be a melee, almost like a shaman in a sense from World of Warcraft, where they're melee but they are very focused in, you know, magic and elements. I think that would be cool. Make them int based, something like that. I still want my Puppet Master too, and you know, they could always be casters, you never know. But yeah, I think we definitely need a caster. I think the next bunch will be in the next expansion, and Samurai a caster, and probably, I don't know, because they're not gonna, there's no way they're gonna just do another tank or another healer. They might do one or the other, but they won't do both, unless by then they're planning on implementing advanced jobs, which I don't think we'll have by 4.0. So yeah, definitely need a new caster DPS. I completely agree. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, you skipped over my question last week. Why for you do that? Well, I can't answer every question, unfortunately, because there's a lot of questions. Anyways, my question is, with us not getting any new Eggies and Square Enix talking about the possibility of a Glamour System, how do you think they should implement it? Really simple. You just make a drop down in the class or job menu and just a name. Just pick one. I mean, that's the simplest way to do it. They pick the Eggie and they can actions. I think I started a topic on the forum and someone had the smart idea where you pick the Eggie and what actions they can do, but are allotted skill points to maintain balance. See, that's the thing. Again, kind of like what I was talking about with talent trees. Skill trees, talent trees, skill point, they all feign, like, they all feign customization. That was what I was really trying to say before. They give you the illusion of choice when no matter how you look at it, what is best will always be used. So yeah, you could say, oh, well, maybe I don't need the knockback of Garuda. I can bring a silence. Doesn't really matter because there's so many other jobs in the game that have silences. That's not going to make or break a summoner. And besides, if your pet's in the middle of an action, you're going to need a silence macro with steady in it. It's just, ugh, it's not fun. Besides, an EOS has it. Yeah, it's like they already designed the job with a certain amount of utility in mind, and just giving them the choice, giving them this fake choice of picking between skills for their pets, it's probably not going to add anything to the job because people are just going to figure out what's best and you use that or you don't play it at all. The very, very unfortunate. Additionally, if Summoner gets one, should Scholar get one as well? I still want a Phoenix pet for... I know it literally doesn't make sense for the Scholar lore. I get that. I know people have suggested that in the past, that it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't. I agree. But it'd be so cool to just have one of those pets that's just... I don't know, because the Phoenix abilities be pretty easy to figure out. I've talked about it in previous videos, but I'm not going to go into that here. And the other one is Helios. And you suggested Phoenix here as well. Helios is the other option, but it doesn't seem like we'll be getting that either. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the skill system for the pets. Eggie, Glamour, just drop down menu, and we're good. I read this question ahead of time, and some of you are going to be upset at the context of it. Hey, Mr. Happy, I have a suggestion. Instead of playing Final Fantasy XIV, let's play Barbies. I'll be Ken, and you be the Boxy Cayman. I don't know. I could have chose to omit that because I knew it said that before I even did this. Serious question, though. I've been a long-time crafter, but ever since you started advising people not to buy best-in-stock crafting, gathering, or raiding gear in your videos on your stream, my sales have gone down the drain. Now I only have 330 mil. You guys can go get your pitchforks. Because, I mean, I'm not... That doesn't bother me, but some people here that bothers. And I'm stuck with all these endgame crafting materials like a Coddle Sea Lance, Mastercraft Demis, Fieldcraft 3s, Battlecraft 3s, etc. Well, I was wondering, what do you think will happen? Will they be reusing them since the new recipes in 3.0? Will they be forgotten? Probably be used for some things, but for the most part, they're going to be forgotten, I imagine. Yeah. I'm surprised. I've still been managing to sell those things on Gilgamesh. Like, people still buy them, and I don't know why. It's a waste. It's not going to be useful. And his sales just went down the drain again. Nah, I don't think they'll do much with them. Next question. Hey, Happy. First time here. 100 Sultry. I love your videos so far. I follow you since the very beginning, but never commented or asked a question. Well, welcome to the video. So really quick question. I think you already mentioned that Puppet Master is a favorite job in 11. Yes! So I was wondering, did you listen to Master of Puppets from Metallica? If so, do you like it? I've heard that song before. I generally like some songs from Metallica and some I don't. I don't remember that song. I don't listen to, like, music like Metallica very often. It's more like it's there and I hear it. So I can't give you an answer. I don't know if I like that song. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, I got a simple question for you. Do we get a month free if we buy Heavensward? Why didn't I include that in my 21 questions video about Heavensward? That's a common question that I get. No, you don't get an extra month for buying an expansion. Sorry. Next question. Hey, Haps, question for Monday, Mr. Happy Mondays, aka Mondays with Mr. Happy week 43, repost from 42. Other than Nidhogg, Tiamat, and possibly, I should, without looking that name up ahead of time, I ain't gonna pronounce it. I know which dragon that is. That's the white one from the trailer. Then possibly his Veilger. Do we know any of the other children of Midgardsormr's names? Also, which of the concept art of with Midgardsormr and his children do you think is Tiamat? I don't have the picture handy, so I can't answer that. I don't know any of the names, man, unless they're gonna just start reusing names from, like, Final Fantasy 11, like Oryu and Vertra and I'm missing one, Fafnir, and there's a lot of them in there. Shinryu definitely won't be a child of Midgardsormr. I don't know, man. I don't have an answer to either question. That sucks. I suck. Let me see what it says here at the end. Also, what do you think about that warning, the Warring Triad being the Archons of the Third Astral Era? Since Dante probably thought them heretics, he just started using them as a possible power source. I like your thought process. I'll never complain about theories, unless they're just like, what if they're planning on making the floating continent a bridge to Final Fantasy VI and we get to go play that game instead? Then I would be like, no, that's not gonna happen. But I like the way you're thinking, my man. It's always a possibility. Next question. Hey, Happy, I was wondering your opinion on new players in dungeons. I personally like going into a new dungeon and learning it as I go, but some players get annoyed or angry if you do not know the fight mechanics. Do you think players should watch or read guides before going into a new dungeon or trial, or should they be allowed to learn as they go if they choose? I think you have to try to play with people who want to play like that, because it's like that in any online game. Like, a lot of people say that my guides are a catalyst to this happening. Listen, if I didn't do guides, someone else was gonna do them. Like Miz does them, or you have a ton of other people that do guides out there. It's gonna happen in any online game. I love going into the fights and knowing them without watching a video, and I know the new players don't really have that option because people are gonna be like, well, you don't know the fight, you know, come on, man, there's 7 other people's time that you're talking about here. And I get both sides of the argument. My thing is, if you're a new player and you want to do a fight brand new, start trying them brand new, and then when you start running into that issue, then look up the guides. If you want to be at the forefront of trying content before it's been figured out so that doesn't happen, you really got to go hard on new content, so that way you can just do it the day of and try and figure it out that day. That's where I get the most fun, is figuring it out on that first day. I love doing that. Next question. Hey, Happy, first time here. Soldier bonus. Been a fan for a while. I truly appreciate your work. Here's my question. It's a summoner related one. Deep breath. What is the best route to take to make aware our desire for the eggy glamour option? As a mostly silent forum poster, I'm a little unsure of what to do. While I've heard they are thinking about it, I want to make sure they think harder about it. Bonus question, E3 this year. What are you wanting to see? Anything particular keeping on your radar? Kingdom Hearts 3. I want to see more of Fallout 4. I can't wait to see the Dark Souls 3 release. New IP from Square Enix. I'm hoping to see some rebooted IPs from Square Enix. Some new features for the PlayStation 4. Maybe something useful for the Xbox One. I don't know. As for your first question, just when they bring it up, comment, be like, yes, we want this. It's the best thing you can do. You don't have to go and create a petition or a forum post or anything like that. Just when you see other posts, just say, yes, I agree. Just contribute in a small way that lets you know, yes, I am on this side of the fence. I want it. And they didn't just say they're thinking about it. They said they are going to do it eventually. It's just a matter of when. Next question. Hey, Happy. Soldiery bonus. Holy moly. I'm going to be capped on. I'm already capped on soldiery. Oh, well. Do you think machinists will be able to use straight shot? And if so, do you expect them to utilize it? I got asked this on my live stream this week. It's tough. I don't think they're going to get it. I think it's going to be limited to classes. Like, I get it. The main reason why no job has gotten it before is because all the jobs with Archer as a subclass are casters, so they can't use physical attacks. Oh, that'd be so awesome if they could get that. I hope they do. Let me just say that. I hope they do. I don't know if they will. They should. By all definitions of the cross-class system, they should. So I hope they do. Second, which race do you think has the most attractive ladies? You strike me as a Lalafell kind of guy. Lalafels ain't got no... They ain't got curves, man. That's so weird. I generally don't care about the looks of the female characters in game. Just not something I'm concerned with. I'll joke about it on stream or something like that, but I generally don't care. It doesn't concern me. But you're asking me to pick one. You know what? I like my women strong. I'm gonna go Rogan and nah, that's... I don't know. I got no answer. Moving on. Next question. Question for week 43. Hey, Mr. Happy, longtime viewer, but ironically just ordered the game due to finally having time to do so. Glad I kept you interested that long. I would have probably got it sooner, but Final Fantasy XI is my favorite game of all time. My question is, how hard do you think it'll be to get caught up with for the average player? Stutter much. I know new expansion is coming out soon, and I feel I may get left in the dust. Also, do you feel White Mage is better in 11 or 14? Thank you. I am happy. Keep up the good work. Thank you for being happy for the success of the channel. So no, it won't be that hard. They're making sure that it's going to be easier to level 1 to 50. It's going to be, you're not going to have to worry about minimum item level all that much through the 2.1 to 2.55 story. So that's not going to be an issue. As for, is White Mage better in 11 and 14? 11 and 14 are two completely different games. I don't think there's a better or worse. 11, they have a lot more... 11, it's a pretty self-explanatory job in 11. You sit there, you get refreshes from the White Mage. I can't say that. You know what? It's not fair for me to comment on the White Mage because my last memory of it was level 75. I didn't care for level 99 because it was boring. Abyssy was boring. Seekers was boring. And Eska, or Escha, whatever the hell it's called, that's Abyssy 2.0, and they somehow made a worse version of Abyssy. I don't know how they managed to do that. They're just two completely different games, man. I can't say one is better in one job. They're both good for their respective games. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, longtime viewer, first time submitting questions. Sultry bonus. My first question is, in the expansion, we'll be able to go to the old content with pre-made parties without level sync. Yes. This means a bunch of level 60 could speedrun old dungeons to level the new jobs quickly, or do you think we'll have restrictions like killing mobs in the world? If you're too high of a level, you won't receive experience. I think it'll be too high. I think you'll have that issue of being too high of a level. I absolutely think that's going to be there. Everyone keeps saying, oh, I can't wait to power level. It's like, that's not how that works. It might be. I don't think that's how it's going to work. It's possible. I mean, World of Warcraft has had it that way for a long time, where you are able to power level low-level people by being a high level and clearing everything out. But I don't know. I feel like Square Enix is very one-dimensional in their approach to leveling, and they won't make an exception for dungeons. Secondly, do you think that certain classes will have a disadvantage, find it impossible to solo old primals? For example, Dragoon, their only source of healing they can provide themselves is Life Surge, second one, Bloodbath. That's a pretty considerable amount, by the way. Do you think that means that they and the other classes will have the same solution? First of all, I don't think soloing old content is going to be that big a thing. A lot of fights have mechanics that remove you from the fight if you mess them up. Like Titan Extreme, you know, locking you in the jail. Of course, you could survive the jail if they don't up the damage that it does as a warrior or something. I don't expect to see many people soloing any of the old content. Okay, let me take it back. Warriors and Scholars and Dark Knights will probably solo a bunch of stuff. Even Paladins will probably be able to solo quite a bit of stuff. White Mage, I wouldn't be surprised to be able to solo some stuff. But don't expect it to be like turn 5 and, like, yeah, stuff like turn 5 or Extreme Primals. I wouldn't expect people to be able to solo that. 2 or 3 people, definitely, just not solo. Oh, and third and final question is, do you think they'll ever implement the Dancer job? That's actually another job I would really like to see. A TP user that heals. Different type of resource, different type of playstyle, meleeing and healing people up in close range. I would like it, and I hope that they consider it one day. Next question. Hello there, Mr. Happy. Longtime viewer, first time poster. Holy moly. I think in this video alone I capped soldiery. I have a question for you today regarding on how expansions work. You see, 14 is my very first MMO, so it means I have no idea how installation for Heavensward is supposed to work. I'm on PS4, by the way. Do I have to do something with my character data or any progress that might cause problems? Okay, so you're on the PlayStation 4. It's pretty simple. They will update your client without you needing to do anything. You'll just have to log in one day and patch it. That will be the Heavensward patch. What you then need to do after that, you need to make sure that early access is registered to you. If you buy it through the PlayStation Network, I think it does it automatically, as well as registration being done automatically. If you do it physically, then you need to get the code, and then you need to follow the instructions on the Lodestone front page in order to make sure all that gets redeemed okay. So, and then you'll be fine. There's nothing with character saves that you need to make sure transfer. It's on the same system. It'll work fine, man. Don't worry about it. Next question. Hey, Haps. I'm a fellow ninja and min-maxer. I'm thinking about a Heavensward rotation for ninja. Do you think it will be beneficial to apply buffs, blood for blood and internal release, while putting up Huton through the combo skills as an opener, then mutilate? Well, okay, you should still be pre-Hutoning before the fight. Your opener should not have the... You shouldn't be using the Huton combo until Huton's about to wear off. So I wouldn't even consider that a part of your initial opener. Now, if you're just asking generally, should you use those buffs while you are in the middle of that combo, as long as you're going to follow it up with Shadow Fang or Mutilate, or you're going to get it, and you're going to get at least one Aeolian Edge, and it should be fine. Your buffs should generally line up with Trick Attack and or Kasatsu at some point as well. They either want to line up with your dots, Aeolian Edge, or Trick Attack, or Kasatsu, generally. Obviously, you can't get all of them, but as long as you're getting some of those things off, specifically the dots being the most important ones, then it doesn't really matter. War puts up I. It'll be the same opener with Isan worked in somewhere after Trick Attack and Kasatsu and the Raiton, changing to Fuma because of Isan. Well, we don't know, because if Fuma is probably still going to be preferred by most people. Most people will definitely go with Fuma to make sure they can get an Isan Aeolian Edge off in between that thing. It's so hard to say without knowing Isan's cooldown, because I don't think the opener is going to change all that much, because you're still going to do either Dancing Edge or Aeolian Edge as your opener with the Warrior, going into the Shadow Fang, then going into Mutilate, then going into an Aeolian Edge combo again. You're going to want to make sure you have Blood for Blood internal release, your Potion, Trick Attack up for all your dots. You're going to want to make sure you have Isan up. It depends on if Isan affects Trick Attack, Kasatsu, Raiton, Aeolian Edge. We don't know which weapon skills it works on. So that's the first most important thing. Isan's going to be worked in somewhere, but we need to know if it affects Trick Attack or not. That's very, very important to figuring out the exact opener. So yeah, definitely you don't put up Huton through the combo. Just keep that in mind. You have to have Huton applied and then use the combo to extend Huton's duration once it's already applied. Now that I actually put my brain to some use, hey Happy, thanks for answering my question 2 weeks ago. I have 2 quick questions. Do you think the 3 new jobs will get their own rank 40-45 gear? You mean 45-50 gear? I actually don't. Believe it or not, I don't think they will. And if yes, what would you like to see? Some wolf gear for Dark Knight, for example. Wolf gear? You mean like PvP gear? They'll probably just use dungeon gear, to be honest. I don't expect it'll be much more than that. There's a possibility they will get the level 45 and 50 gear, like all the other existing jobs do, but I don't think they will. All right, we're approaching the 30-minute mark, so I got to go through these remaining questions as quickly as possible. There's a lot of questions here, but I see a lot of quick ones as well. All right, so let's go with this one. Hello, Mr. Happy. First time here, of course. A quick question. Do you think that there should be a way to speed up your ground mounts after you complete the patch 2.0 story? Not really. World's not big enough. With all the teleporting, the only place where you wish your mount was faster was either when you're running to a hunt or you're in Korthus. So those are pretty much the only 2 places where you can definitively say, man, I wish this was faster. Yeah, I don't think they should add any more speed to the ground mounts. I mean, they're not gonna... We're gonna all be in Heavensward areas in a couple of weeks anyway, so, you know, just focus on that, I guess. Next question. Hey, Happy. Having a good Monday? I'll tell you tomorrow. How'd you feel if Bard's Archers got an offhand added to allow different arrows? Iron, Holy, Unholy, Ice. Without Elemental, without... Okay, so okay. Let me think. Let's put it this way. If they did that, it wouldn't be for different elements, because elemental resistances don't matter for shit in this game. And sorry for shaking my camera. It would just be to add weapon damage and stats, almost like the shield is for a paladin. So, or to maybe make your shots look cooler. I don't see it serving much of a purpose, other than maybe adding a few more stats and weapon damage, which probably isn't a good idea considering that their weapon damage is lower for a reason, and their stats are the same for their main hand as all the other DPS jobs are, so probably not going to happen. Next one. Hey, Haps, first time asker, long time watcher. Sultry bonus. Do you think we're going to see more races added in the future expansions? I don't expect a new race every expansion with the Aurora coming. I would like to see more unique races added in the future. Yeah, maybe if they actually add something that's more bestial, because I don't think we need any more humanoid races in the game. I think the only thing they really wanted to achieve with the Aurora was these races in 14 were carbon copies of Final Fantasy XI's races, because that was just the shortcut that they took. They wanted people to transition from 11 to 14 easier back in 1.0. So the Aurora was just to be more of a, this is a Final Fantasy 14 unique thing. This is us stomping our originality into the game and into the world. So I don't expect any more races, to be honest. And if they do more races, it ain't gonna be for at least 3.5, 4 years. That's just my opinion, of course. Next question. Hello, Sir Happy. Thank you. First time asker, long time watcher, soldier bonus. 2 quick questions. What would be your thoughts on a Final Fantasy MOBA? Yo, that question has been coming up more and more. I like Heroes of the Storm, so I think a Final Fantasy MOBA would be pretty fun. Assuming they can actually learn how to make PvP in it with a Final Fantasy. Well, I guess Dissidia counts as decent PvP, right? It's not just because it's Final Fantasy. It's a good game, right? Yeah. I would like a MOBA. Second question, I heard rumors about Blitzball being added. Any more info? No, just that he considered it and that it would be cool. It's pretty much the conversation that Yoshi P had with the creator of with the developer of Final Fantasy X. So, nothing really more to go on other than, it would be cool. That's all they gave us. All right, we got 3 more questions I'm going to answer. 3 more, guys. So sorry if your question does not get answered. Hello, Mr. Happy. First time question, soldiery bonus. And love the videos, give up the good work. I've been playing a Realm Reborn for about a year now, and mostly playing with a controller on my PlayStation 4 since I didn't have a good computer to run it. Since I made a better PC to run it, tried to use a keyboard and mouse, I'm so used to controller, it's hard for me to switch to keyboard and mouse, and I'm not very ambidextrous. My first question is, any tips you can give me to making the switch to keyboard and mouse, or should I stick to using a controller? Play whatever you want, man. Just play comfortable. That's all that matters to you. You're trying to play the game, you're trying to have fun. Play it the way that you're most comfortable. If you want to learn keyboard and mouse, I do recommend getting a gaming keyboard and mouse, but it's expensive if you want to do that, especially if you're not sure if it's going to pan out that way. My second question is that if I stick to a controller, what is a good controller to use for a PC? Since I remember you use a controller for your healer, Happy. I use a Razer Sabertooth, but you should generally be able to just plug and play either an Xbox controller or a PlayStation 4 controller. If anything, download DS4 tool for the PlayStation 4 controller since you already had a PlayStation 4. That should work out pretty well. Try that. Try looking up the DS4 tool with the PlayStation 4 controller, and that should work pretty good. All right, next question. One more after this. Hi, Mr. Happy. A quick question. My friend is refusing MMOs. However, I said he would join if a dungeon had some form of crafters gatherers within a dungeon party. He wants to see a 5 or 8 man dungeon with 4 disciples of war and magic, and additional crafters and gatherers get exclusive items from within the dungeon. Do you think this could be something that would be incorporated? It could definitely be incorporated. I mean, look at Hamlet back from 1.0. As god awful as Hamlet was with drop rates and just being completely boring, it did use crafters to buff NPCs in order to get the most amount of points, where you would just kite around bosses and hope for the best. So, having said that, it could totally be done. I wouldn't expect it to be done. You're mostly going to follow the pattern of Disciples of War and Magic, going out, farming the materials, bringing them back to the Crafters and Gatherers, and then they create items that then either go to other Crafters and Gatherers to enhance their abilities to make stuff, or back into battle with the Disciples of War and Magic. It's a vicious circle. It's one we'll probably continue to follow. Alright, and this is going to be the last question. Apologies for the questions I did not get to answer. I've seen some of your names, and I know you guys come by the stream, so if, you know, you got the choice to also come by the stream to ask the questions, don't forget. But I know a lot of you don't have the time or the opportunity to do that, so let me grab this last one, and we will call it a video. Hey, Haps, thanks again for continuing these great Q&A vids. No problem, man. Quickie for this week. How do you think the new Monk chakra stacking mechanic will work? Auto stacking with certain abilities like Wrath, or will we have to weave in some off the global cooldown ability as we get our 5 stacks? If it's the second, what's to stop monks from preparing chakra stacks before the pull? So, I have an answer to your question, because it is neither of those ways. It is actually an on the global cooldown ability that you will mostly be using when you cannot be in range of the boss, or there is no boss to attack. Think of it like Titan hard mode or Titan extreme when he jumps up into the air and you can't hit him. Or you need to get out of melee range to dodge an attack. You spend that time stacking up chakra so that when you go back in, you have it available. This is how it's been detailed currently. That could change before the expansion comes out. And yeah, all monks are going to stack 5 chakra before the fight starts. I mean, I can tell you that right now. Every monk is going to do that. I knew that as soon as they announced the mechanic. It's going to happen, but it's on the global cooldown ability according to the source that is compiling all of the information we have, which is a giant document that I'll include a link to in the description of the video. Imagine if they change it. If it gets changed before this video comes out, I'll be so sad. But anyway, thank you everyone for asking your questions. I answered as many as I could. Be sure to ask your questions for next week on the forum in the description of the video, the official Dream Forums. While you're on the Dream Forums, be sure to check out all the other stuff that we have there. A lot of other broadcasters like Miztech and Raze on Twitch, they have their own forums as well. We have general forums, we have art forums, music forums, all that fun stuff. So go check it out, register, and enjoy. So anyway, guys, I will see you next week for the next Mondays with Mr. Happy. And guess what? That'll be right when E3 is happening. And I was going to say something. That Friday will be Heavensward. I do have an announcement. We can stream it. I have Heavensward Early Access, by the way. And I'm going to be streaming it for like 18 hours that day. Okay. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. And until then, take care.